Great, so on number 1, solution set. Solution set is the same thing as the x-intercepts, as the roots, as the zeros of an equation. So basically all you have to do is factor and solve here. If you want to, you can do over, under, it doesn't really matter. If you do over, under, you take the first number, multiply it by the last. That'd give you x squared minus 16x plus 60 equals 0. If you factor this, since you have a plus at the end, both your parentheses have to have the same sign as the middle, so that'd be x minus and another x minus. To multiply to 60, add to 16, you'd have to have 10 and 6. You are not done, however, though. Okay, you do have to bring back that front number, and when you bring back the front number, it comes underneath. So put this over 12 and over 12. Those reduce to give you, we'll go this way, to give you x minus 5 over 6 and x minus 1 over 2. Those fractions, after they're reduced, the denominator comes up to the front, so it actually factors to be 6x minus 5 and 2x minus 1. Those have to be split up so that equal to 0. So sorry, I'm running out of room here. So 6x minus 5 equals 0 and 2x minus 1 equals 0. Do the inverse operation, so add 5 to both sides gives you 6x equals 5. Divide both sides by 6, so x is 5 over 6. That's one of your solutions. So 5 over 6 is one of your solutions. Other one, add 1 to both sides would give you 2x equals positive 1. Divide both sides by 2, so x is 1/2. Okay, you do have to set them equal to 0 before you can solve. On your test, if you write x equals, that's fine, okay? If you write them with just a parentheses, that's fine. Either way is good, okay? On your test, most likely you'll see those kind of weird parentheses or the brackets, okay, around them like that. Oh, minor details, there you go. Okay. For this one, again, find the solution set. So again, you're going to set it equal to 0. This is already set equal to 0. Factor and solve. So take out a GCF. Left behind would be x squared plus 7x minus 30 equals 0. Factor again, so x, this one breaks down to be 1 positive, 1 negative. Multiply to negative 30, add to positive 7 would have to be a positive 10 and a negative 3. Then set each part equal to 0, so you got x equals 0, x equals negative 10, and x equals positive 3. Okay, the highest exponent number always tells you the maximum amount of answers you could have. So here, this is an exponent number of 3, so you could have 3 different answers. So here it would be 0, negative 10, positive 3. They're not always going to be written in that exact order. So it might be least to greatest, it might be greatest to least, it doesn't really matter. And that was a really bad parentheses, there you go. Solution set again, all you have to do is set it equal to 0, so if you move the 50, we get 2x squared minus 50 equals 0, and then factor and solve. So factor out of 2 is a GCF, left behind is x squared minus 25 equals 0. Factor that again, so 2 times x plus 5 and x minus 5 equals 0. Set each part equal to 0, 2 equals 0. This gives you a negative 5 and a positive 5. The 2 equals 0 is basically just getting rid of the GCF, so you throw that one away. Okay, so your actual answers here are negative 5 and positive 5. So 2 different answers there. Same thing on number 4. To find the solution set, you first want to look for GCF between all 4 terms. There's not a GCF for all 4, so we're going to look at 2 separately. So look at the first 2 and then the last 2. From the first 2, you can take out a GCF of x squared. Left behind would be x minus 1. Then from the second 2, you have to take out whatever sign's in the middle, so take out a negative. GCF between 4x and 4 is a 4. Left behind, since you divided away the negative, is just an x. Positive 4 divided by negative gives you negative 1. This is not done. Okay, you have to make groups. So one group is x minus 1. The other group is the x squared minus 4. This factors again to be x minus 1 and x2 and x minus 2. Then set each part equal to 0. So you should have three answers here: positive 1, negative 2, and positive 2. After you set each part equal to 0, it just changes the sign of whatever was in the parentheses with the x. Number 5, it says two positive numbers are consecutive even integers, right? Anytime you see the word even or odd, that means we're counting by twos. So your smaller number always is equal to x. Your larger number, in this case, since it says consecutive even, is going to be x plus 2. It says the square of the smaller, so the smaller one squared, is means equals 4 more than, so 4 plus, 4 times the larger. So 4 times means parentheses, x plus 2. And we want to find the sum of the consecutive positive even integers. So to solve, you have x squared equals, gets distributed, so distribute the 4. X squared equals 4 plus 4x plus 8. Combine the like terms. So x squared equals 4x plus 12. You need to have everything equal to 0 in order to solve. So move these over. We got x squared minus 4x minus 12 equals 0. That does factor. You're going to have one positive, one negative. So x plus and x minus. Multiply to negative 12, add to negative 4 is positive 2 and negative 6. Set each part equal to 0, negative 2, positive 6. Oh, sorry, but that's not your answer. My bad. Okay, so this one is actually asking you for, though, obviously we can't have a negative. Okay, so you throw that one away. The smaller number is 6. The larger number, the next even integer, would be 8. Okay, so here we're asking for the sum of them. So 6 plus 8, your actual answer here, is going to be 14. Sorry, I don't have an eraser right now. So 14 is the actual answer we're looking for. I apologize. I didn't read it very well. Okay, for number 6, so most of the rest of these are going to be about parabolas. Okay, so there's going to be a big section about factor and solve. Then we're going to go into parabolas. So what's the equation for line of symmetry? Okay, this one is written in standard form. So from standard form, you're going to do x equals negative b over 2a and plug in. Negative b is negative 9 over 2 times a is 3. So that gives you positive 9 over 6, which reduces to 3 over 2. When I ask for equation for line of symmetry, it has to be in the form of x equals, right? X equals 3 over 2. And you can leave it just like that. I repeat, I do not want you changing it to mixed numbers. Okay, leave it as an improper fraction as long as it's reduced. Next one, for number 7, it says, what are the coordinates of the vertex? So again, this is in standard form. So to find the coordinates of the vertex, you have to find the x and then the y. So start with x equals negative b over 2a. So that would be negative 6 over 2 times 1, which gives you positive 6 over 2. So we get our our x coordinate of 3. Now to find the y coordinate, plug back in. So y equals 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 7. So 3 squared is 9 minus 18 plus 7. 9 minus 18 is negative 9 plus 7. So we got negative 2. So the vertex comes from the x coordinate and the y coordinate. So positive 3, negative 2 for your vertex. For number 8, this is asking you to write the equation for this graph in standard form. The one on your test is going to be in vertex form or in descriptive form. All you have to do is identify what is the vertex. Okay, so this vertex is over 1 down 2. So 1, negative 2. If I just asked you to write this in vertex or descriptive form, you use this. You're going to plug into y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And all you really have to know is plug in the h and the k. That's your vertex. So y equals, this will also be a multiple choice question. Okay, none of them will have an a value in front, so that's equal to 1. So this is just a normal size graph. So put in your x. What goes inside with the h is the opposite of what's here. So since this is positive 1, this becomes negative 1. And the k is just the negative 2. Now, if I was asking for vertex form or descriptive form, this is where you would stop. To get standard form, you have to actually multiply this out. So y equals, this is x minus 1 times another x minus 1, minus 2, so you FOIL it out. That gives you x squared minus 1x plus 1 minus 2. So if you work that out, you're going to get y equals x squared minus 2x minus 1 for an answer. So you just actually do all the multiplication. But again, on your test, all you have to worry about is being able to write it in descriptive form. Make sure you don't forget the square part. That's where people are forgetting a lot of things, is that square. State the equation for line of symmetry. Line of symmetry, all you have to do is change the sign of whatever's in the parentheses, make it an x equals positive 3. That's it. So x equals positive 3. State the minimum value. Minimum value is when you have an upward opening parabola. This is a 3 in front, so that means it's positive, so it will open up. The minimum value is just the y value of the vertex. So here the vertex would be 7, 10. The minimum value is 10. Okay, if it was asking for the range, that's when you put the y greater than or equal to. Okay, but here all you need is just the y value, so it's 10. And that's it. And you can read that right from your descriptive form parabola. Write the equation for the graph of y equals x squared translated. So translate just means if I picked up and moved the whole graph. So this one starts at a vertex of 0, 0. So I think it's easiest when you draw these. So if you start at 0, 0 and translate or move 2 units right and 1 unit down, your new vertex would be at 2, negative 1. So 2, negative 1, all you have to do here is just rewrite this into descriptive form. So if you have a vertex at 2, negative 1, I'm just going to insert this into y equals, your a value is the same, so it's like a 1. Something inside being squared, so change the sign here, becomes negative 2. At the end, negative 1. So you're just rewriting this with the new vertex. So y equals x minus 2 squared minus 1. Make sure you keep the square there. Describe the translation of the graph. So all we really need to do is describe how you move from one vertex to the other. So this vertex is negative 3, negative 5. This vertex is 1, positive 5. So if I want to figure out from here, so from negative 3, negative 5, if I go from negative 3, negative 5 to positive 1, positive 5. How do you get there? You would have to move right 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and up, if you count all of these, you'll move up 10 spaces. So you're just figuring out how do you get from this parabola to this parabola. So if you pick up and move every single point, you would have to move them all right 4 and up 10. If you can do that without showing the picture, that's fine. But I find it easiest to actually show the location and show the moving in a picture way. Next one, for stating the range, okay? Range is, again, talking about the y value. This one opens down. So automatically, you know that our range is going to be y less than or equal to. And all we have to do is basically find the vertex of the parabola and take the y portion of the vertex and then plug it in. So first you have to find the x portion. You get x by finding x equals negative b over 2a. So that would be negative 12 over 2 times negative 3. So positive 12 over negative 6 gives you an x value of negative 2. We do, however, need to find the y value, though. So negative 2, comma, if you plug back in, we got y equals negative 3 times negative 2 squared minus 12 times negative 2 plus 9. So if we work that out, we're going to get negative 3 times 4. Negative times negative is plus 24 plus 9. So negative 12 plus 24 plus 9. Negative 12 positive 24 gives you 12 plus 9, which is 21. So my vertex would be at negative 2, positive 21. And since this is facing down, the y values will all be less than or equal to 21. The range is just dealing with the y value of the vertex. Okay, for these ones, if we're going to compare these, what you really need to look at here is the line of symmetry and the vertex. So line of symmetry is x equals 5. Vertex is at 5, 7. This one, line of symmetry is the same at x equals 5. Vertex is at 5, negative 7. So here, if you have one at 5, positive 7, excuse me, and one at 5, negative 7, here the line of symmetry is exactly the same. Is one shifted to the left or the right? No, they're on the exact same line of symmetry. Okay, so there's no shifting there. However, since the top one is normal shaped, okay, this one would be normal, the bottom one is skinny. So the g of x parabola is narrower than the f of x. The f of x is fatter, so the answer here would be D. So you just have to sketch both of them and then decide. Okay, this one would be more narrow, and this was the g of x. The normal size parabola was the f of x. Okay, finding x-intercepts. X-intercepts is the same thing as finding the zeros or the roots. So to find x-intercepts, whatever intercept you're trying to find, plug in 0 for the opposite letter. So 0 equals, you can do guess and check here, or you can do over under. So if you do over under, you take this, multiply it to the end. So x squared minus 18x minus 40. That factors to be 1 positive, 1 negative. Multiply to 40, add to negative 18, has to be negative 20, positive 2. You're not done yet, though. You definitely have to bring back that 8. So if you make this over 8, these will reduce to give you x plus 1/4 and x minus 4 goes into both of these, so negative 5 over 2. Those become 4x plus 1 and 2x minus 5. Then set each part equal to 0, so 4x plus 1 equals 0. You got 4x equals negative 1. Divide through, x is negative 1/4. The other equation, set it equal to 0 as well. That leaves you with 2x equals positive 5. Divide both sides by 2, so x equals 5 over 2. So two different answers there, negative 1/4, positive 5 over 2. On number 16, you're given the equation for an arrow being shot. Okay, its height after t seconds is given by this equation. Find the arrow's maximum height. So in this problem, height is represented by y, time is represented by x. So to find the maximum, we basically have to find the vertex. So start with x equals negative b over 2a, because you have to find the x part before you can find the y. Then we're actually going to plug in. So negative b is the negative 96. Okay, the b value is always whatever's attached to the letter by itself. The a value is whatever's attached to the letter squared. So negative 96 over 2 times negative 16 gives you negative 96 over negative 32, which reduces to be 3. So the x value is 3. Then to plug in to find the height. So height is equal to 96 times 3 minus 16 times 3 squared. So 96 times 3 is 288 minus 16 times 9. So if we work that out, we get 288 minus 144. So height will equal 144. And this is in feet. So 144 feet is your maximum height that this gets to. Solve for x. Before you can solve for anything, it has to be equal to 0. So first start by FOILing these together. It gives you 2x squared. Outsides is minus 4x. Insides is plus 4x. Last is negative 8. equals 24. When you combine like terms, we get 2x squared. These two will cancel each other out. So we get 2x squared minus 8 equals positive 24. Move the 24 to the opposite side. So that leaves us with 2x squared minus 32 equals 0. To solve, you have to set it equal to 0 or factor and solve. So take out a 2. Left behind is x squared minus 16 equals 0. If we move over here, factor again. 2 times x plus 4 and x minus 4 equals 0. Set each part equal to 0, negative 4, and positive 4. So two different answers, negative 4 and positive 4. Same thing here, we're solving again. So this is a Q problem, okay? I'm going to take this out and I'm going to replace 2x minus 1 with Q, with a quantity. So this would be Q squared plus Q minus 30 equals 0. Okay, that's a lot easier to factor once you take these out. So this would factor to be 1 positive, 1 negative. So Q plus and Q minus. What multiplies to 30 adds to positive 1 has to be plus 6 and minus 5. Then you don't set these equal to 0 yet. You're going to take or plug back in what you took out. So we're going to have 2x minus 1 plus 6 and 2x minus 1 minus 5 equals 0. If you simplify these, we get 2x plus 5 and 2x minus 6. Set each part equal to 0. So 2x plus 5 equals 0. And 2x minus 6 equals 0. If you move the 5 over, we get 2x equals negative 5. Divide both sides by 2. X is negative 5 over 2. That's one of your answers. Leave it like that because it is reduced. You don't have to change it to a mixed number. This one adds 6 to both sides, so 2x equals positive 6. Divide through by 2. X is 3. So two different answers. Negative 5 over 2, positive 3. So that's positive. Okay, we're almost done. Last page. On number 19 says 2 consecutive positive odd integers. So we're going to have to use x and x plus 2. Anytime you see the word odd or even, you're counting by 2's. Such that the square of the smaller, so the smaller one squared, means equals 13 more than, so that's 13 plus 4 times the larger. So 4 parentheses x plus 2. If you multiply, we get x squared equals 13 plus 4x plus 8. Combine your like terms. X squared equals 4x plus 21. Move everything to one side. X squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. That can factor before you can solve. So x minus 7 and x plus 3. Set these equal to 0. We get a positive 7 and a negative 3. Negative 3 doesn't make sense because I asked for positive odd integers, so we throw that one away. So your first integer, if you plug in, is 7. The second one would be 9. And this is just asking for the two integers. So 7 and 9. You're not adding them together or multiplying or anything like that. For this parabola, find line of symmetry. Line of symmetry, you take the opposite of what's in the parentheses. So x equals negative 4. If you don't put the x equals, it's wrong. Vertex, change and keep. So change the sign, keep the sign. Negative 4. Negative 5. State whether the graph has a minimum or a maximum. So you'd actually want to sketch before you do that because it makes it a little bit easier. So if you have an x at negative 4, so your line of symmetry is at negative 4, label it x equals negative 4. Vertex is negative 4, negative 5. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Label it again, negative 4, negative 5. Okay, this one is facing up because it's positive in its a value, and it will be skinny because it's a whole number not equal to 1. So it's going to be skinny. So this is a minimum value. So it has a minimum. and its value is a minimum at the y portion of the vertex, -5. So minimum at the y portion of the vertex, which is -5. On 21, last one, a ball is thrown into the air, so its height is given by that formula where t is time in seconds and h is height. So how long does it take the ball to reach maximum height? What is the maximum height, and when will it hit the ground? So here, height is in the y portion, time is in the x portion. So you need to find the vertex and then the x-intercept, so when it hits the ground, because it's basically being thrown like this. So we want to find when does it hit the ground, as well as when is it at its peak, and how long does it take to get there. So start by finding the the line of symmetry. So x equals -b over 2a. That gives you -16 over 2 times -4. -16 over -8 reduces to be 2. And your x is your line of symmetry, so x is 2 seconds. So it takes 2 seconds to get there. How high does it get? You plug in, so h equals -4 times 2 squared plus 16 times 2 plus 20. So -4 times 2 squared is 4. 16 times 2 is plus 32 plus 20. -4 times 4 is -16 plus 32 plus 20. That gives you 16 plus 20, so your maximum height is 36, and we are talking about meters. So 36 meters is its maximum height. And then to find when it hits the ground would be at 0 height. So plug in 0 for your h. So 0 equals -4t squared plus 16t plus 20. Factor and solve, take out a GCF of -4. Left behind is t squared. Positive divided by negative gives you a -4t. Positive divided by negative gives you a -5. Factor that again, so -4 times t. T breaks down, you're going to have 1 positive, 1 negative. Has to be -5, positive 1. If you set these equal to each other, we get a -1 and a positive 5. It doesn't make any sense to be hitting the ground at -1 seconds, so it has to be the 5. And this is talking about seconds, so it hits the ground again at 5 seconds. This test